next one, our next inductee is Eric Visser. This is a little bit longer than the others. No, but and because this is, I don't know, maybe more personal to me. I don't know, but just be prepared. It's a little bit more. So be patient over there. But our next inductee is Eric Visser, who was our athletic director from 2014 to 2025. When I was hired at Solano College in 2000, we had an athletic director, Bob Myers, and an administrative assistant, Roxy Morgan. And like a good team, there was great direction. There was organization, rhythm, tempo to each day, each week, each semester, sport to sport, season to season, great flow and cohesiveness. Later that decade, the college reorganized, and the AD essentially became like a super dean, suddenly in charge of 55 to 60 more things beyond athletics. And the flow was compromised. Bob and Roxy would retire in 2011, and for 3 years, we kind of muddied our way through this compromised state. And don't get me wrong, we did well. All the sports teams continued to excel, but it just wasn't quite the same. And then in 2014, the college switched it up again. We would now have a dean of health sciences / kinesiology, and once again a separate athletic director, which would include their own administrative assistant. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. It was around this time I got a text from an unknown gentleman who wanted to meet me at the barista down the street for coffee and discuss Solano College and the athletic department. His name happened to be Eric Visser. Now, granted, I was not involved. I was not involved at all. But a few minutes into our get-together, I realized I'm being interviewed as intensely maybe as I ever have been. Eric was trying to figure out if he wanted this job, if it was offered to him eventually. It was impressive, to be honest with you, very impressive. But Eric was extremely modest, very modest. We leave, and I still don't really know much about him. And I wasn't, like I said, even close to the process, not on the committee or anything like that. At the time, I was locked in, actually, into the best team I've ever had, who's sitting up there tonight that we'll celebrate in a little bit. Sometime later, the hiring process finalized, and the press release goes out that we named Eric Visser as our new athletic director. I go, wait a minute. That's the guy I had coffee with. And then you find out more about him. Two-time NCAA champion as a soccer player at USF, University of San Francisco. First women's soccer coach at USF. 2 master's degrees, 1 in counseling, 1 in sports fitness management. 3-time West Coast Conference Coach of the Year for men's soccer at USF. Assistant AD for compliance, USF Merit Service Award winner. And you go, wow. He's like the soccer equivalent of Bill Russell and Gino Orion. And we go, we got a big-time guy. We got a big-time guy. And Eric did not disappoint. He settled into his office. We hired Claire Dover as his administrative assistant, and instantly the flow was back. It was like going back in time. Instead of Bob and Roxy, we have Eric and Claire, which eventually became Eric and Marilyn. The 4 pillars came: academic excellence, athletic excellence, good citizenship, community service. The AD award you saw earlier enthused us as coaches. It pushed us to be better. All the coaches wanted to win that award. You saw Darla earlier. MJ's fired up. We wanted to win that award. And the student athletes responded. Eric accomplished many things in his 11 years. You can see them in the program. And they are all fantastic. And he left the department in a better place than he found it. However, I want to go beneath the surface more for you to explain what made Eric great. Eric connected the campus. Eric would walk around on a daily basis with his coffee or his green smoothie and pop into people's offices. Announced, and I even think unannounced at times, right? Sheila, David. And engage them in conversation. That was genuine, but always left a lasting message that athletics was important. Eric was great because on game days, he would come down the hallway fired up and ask you if you were ready. Are you ready? What's going to be the difference? What do you need to do? Give me the top 2 keys to the game. And what was amazing is he wanted specific answers. He really did. Because he was ready to agree or counter with a genuine, educated opinion because he was invested. He had observed practice. He knew information on the other team. He paid attention to the previous game that you had played that team before. Eric was great because you could stop by the office to turn in paperwork or something like that, right? And it would turn into a 30 to 45-minute meaningful conversation about life, athletics, etc. Did you watch that documentary last night on ESPN Plus? Did you watch the USF basketball game last night? Did you hear about the new legislation going with the CCCAA? And you would go back to your office and say to yourself, wow, that was a really cool conversation. And you learned something. Eric had that uncanny ability to always make you think how you can be a better coach and how you can make your team better. Eric was great because he would meet with your team, and with 5 minutes, he had them pegged, evaluated perfectly. And afterwards, he would talk to you, and he would say, you have no D1 players. You have no D1 players. And he did it, and it wasn't, he was right. But it wasn't a demeaning thing. It wasn't a demeaning thing. He meant it was in a teaching mode about demeanor, body language, eye contact, showing enthusiasm for the privilege that a student athlete had, and how important those little things are. And he wanted to make a point as a coach to work on those things. And then the beauty was, however, I would then ask him, in his career at USF, had he ever been on the road at a tournament in the middle of nowhere, the armpit of Central California, no offense anybody, had to call an ambulance to the hotel, rush the player to the emergency room at 2 a.m., hold their hands as they learned they had a miscarriage, rally the team to play a game the next night, lose, drive the van home in the wee hours of the night, pull over on Highway 5 for 99-cent cheeseburgers at McDonald's at 11 p.m., and pray the whole team didn't get food poisoning because you had another game 2 days later. JUCO, full circle. The JUCO grind, right? Yeah. And that same player who had a miscarriage that maybe didn't make eye contact all the time would bounce back and score 15 points in that said game 2 days later, and eventually help him win a BBC championship a month later. Eric marveled at that and adapted and adjusted and leaned into the beauty of community college. To use his quote, you have to dig deeper into your toolbox. And that's what Eric did. He dug deeper. He dug deeper into his toolbox. And he advocated, and he got us more. And he collaborated amazingly with Sheila and Celia and David and got us more. That is where the results that you see in the program tonight, that what he did, what he accomplished, that's where it came from. That's where it came from. Today, Eric is only the senior technical director at Benicia Arsenal Soccer Club, the Major League Soccer match director, the United States Soccer Young National Team Talent Scout, consultant for the Talent Projects in Munich, Germany, and the USF Sports Management Advisory Board member. He and his wife Martha, who's here tonight, are proud grandparents and enjoy going to SoCal to visit son Brian and daughter Lauren, who are both USF graduates as well. Brian is in enterprise sales at Workday, and Lauren, a senior accountant at Road Company. I'll finish with this. One of Eric's favorite sayings, and Brian and Lauren, you tell me if I'm wrong. One of his favorite sayings was, they did it. Amen. She gets it. He gets it. All right? Probably with you guys, right? Probably with you guys at home, like, Dad, I want to, I get it. Well, Eric, you get it. You got it, Eric. You got it for 11 years. Thank you for deciding that Solano College was worth your time, your skill, your effort. And thank you again for leading us in a better place than you found us. And on behalf of the Hall of Fame Committee, we are honored to induct you into the Solano College.
This is the reason I haven't been inducted here. Because I knew this was going to be emotional. Way too much credit, Matt. It's, yeah. I don't really know what to say. I had a beautiful written speech out here, as many of my colleagues know. There's an over and under about the 2 minutes. David Williams, I think, has a considerable amount of money on way over. I think Susan Wheat, I'm going to be way over. I don't think Eric is going to be under 2 minutes. Number one, the inductees that, the student athletes inducted, again, incredible. This is what really personifies what community college is all about. And I'm so grateful because your speeches were so short. You left me 37 minutes. I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful, for that. But
we have two teams recognized.
This is really emotional for me, and I knew this would be emotional for me because I mentioned to my spouse Martha when Matt was talking about my previous career at the University of San Francisco, where I was 32 years in different capacities. After 32 years, they have to induct you in the Hall of Fame. Get rid of him, induct the Hall of Fame, you had a 32-year career. So this one, in the way that Matt articulated, means a lot to me. Because, and I'll go a little bit on my written speech here, is because retiring last June after 10 years as your athletic director was a bittersweet milestone. It gave me the perspective to truly appreciate what significant role we play in the lives of young people we serve. My decade at Solano solidified my belief in the vital role of the community college system, of which I was really unaware or ignorant when I took the job here after 32 years of four-year institution. We're more than just a school. We provide pathways and guidance to a beautifully diverse student body. Individuals coming from every imaginable background, upbringing and environment. Seeing our students find their why has been the greatest reward in my professional life. So number one, thank you very much to the Hall of Fame Committee. Again, tremendous honor, and I'm so honored to be recognized with my fellow student athletes here. Again, you show and what is the best in community college. So when I look around in this room, and it's really hard for me, David, to go one of really hard. But I put like in a big, in big bold letters, I put gratitude, because this is really about the 11 years of being part of a village that really welcomed me at Solano Land. And this village really enabled us, I think, to do really some good things. But first and foremost, Karen mentioned that she has more than 3 decades in intercollegiate athletics, and it takes its toll, right? It's not easy. So I did more than 4 decades in intercollegiate athletics, and it's not easy. It takes its toll. And again, the one that has been there besides me since 1978 is my spouse Martha, that has been there the long days, the road trip, the stresses and frustrations of the job, So I'm tremendously grateful to my spouse, Martha. Secondly, the lady that's sitting there, there's actually a couple ladies sitting there behind me. I really want to express a special thanks to Dr. Celia Esposito and her lovely husband, and he came actually. To see me here, thank you, Solano, to actually be here. And I told him the only reason why he's here, there was no WNBA game today, it was yesterday. And he was able to come. But as an athletic director, I was so fortunate and blessed to come on board and within 1 year to be aligned with a leader that really got it. And Matt talked a little bit about our 4 pillars. You know, a student-centered, holistic approach to community college athletics, where we put an emphasis on courteous behavior. Treat every human being with respect. Creed, color, religion doesn't make a difference. Just treat each other with respect. So that was a core value that we were aligned on. And secondly, all of us, and especially student athletes, we are blessed. We're blessed human beings with a healthy set of brains and athletically minded. So give back to your community of less fortunate people. So for us, for our teams to be engaged in the community and give back to Fairfield, Sassoon, etc., was a core pillar for us. Then third and fourth, the academics. I'm so proud to hear what the athletic GPA is. And we always compared it, how do we do compared to our regular student body? How many student athletes are we transferring to the 4-year level? How many student athletes are getting a certificate? How many of them getting a degree? And it's so wonderful that community college provides so many different pathways. As many parents here and grandparents know here, kids all develop at a different rate. And in many ways, as adults, we judge way too early. Allow those flowers slowly to bloom. Sometimes it's 18, 19, 21, 22, 23. Ultimately, all children will develop in human beings and they find their path. And our role was to help them find that pathway. So again, Celia, thank you very much. Without your leadership, your vision, for the 9 years, we were able to transition gradually to the model of fully funding the athletic program, and I hope that all our athletic coaches are still really grateful that we did a lot in those 8-9 years to get the program with the guidance, not only the vision of Celia, our favorite rubber diamond, former VP of Finance, that I can knock a lot of heads with, but he got it. And again, the school is very blessed to have a wonderful, VP of Administration in Susan Reed, who's continued, that support for our department. I saw David. David was one of the few that got not only my humor, but I told David, I'm one of the few that gets your humor. So thank you, David Williams, for all your support, through all those years. Next, and I think I'm moving well along. So within that vision, as I mentioned, we had great support. There's another lady there. Again, I was blessed. My best supervisors were all women. And I really mean that. The ones that I reported well and aligned well with were women. I don't know, maybe we can do a study about it, but that we also, Dr. Sheila Hudson, I think she came on board, the day of the pandemic. Right? That's when you actually got the job, but about March 2020, you came on board. So she came on board at Solano College, where basically we shut down. Despite that, I think we were really aligned because during COVID in athletics, and Karen can attest to that, in athletics we don't follow, we lead. Right? We lead, whether it's diversity, cutting edge teamwork, we lead. So one of the things I'm really proud of is that as a team with many other in the school, we took the lead at COVID. We developed with Allison a sports medicine plan of how are we going to guide Solano athletics safely through COVID. And I think that's one of the accomplishments that I'm really proud of, that we were really able to accomplish. But again, you know, I'm really grateful to Sheila, because she is the most humble person that I know, because she was a world-class Olympian at the Atlanta Olympics. She is a Hall of Famer at Cal Berkeley and a Pac-10 Hall of Famer. And working with a supervisor that really understands athletics, again, I was incredibly lucky about that. I treasure our conversations, and I treasure our Brian Bedford workshops. I love those, right, weren't they? We're still doing those?
Yep.
Okay, good. Gratitude, I'll continue the gratitude. Ellison, you know, Ellison has been there, side by side. She's been here 30 years plus. She retired, she came back. I'm not only incredibly proud how she committed to the student athlete welfare, but during her 2 stints as an interim